At Mary it proved that if you wanted to win in Scott Waterjet's Group A, you had to be in the 10 Tools racing team. Bevan Muir was second. His teammate won again, and that was Baden Gray. What a fantastic season he's having. In third place, it was the veteran, and that was Reg and Julie Smith in the hire company boat. What will happen as the field head to Hawke's Bay for round 4? This is the newest jet sprinting circuit of the current crop, and we are in Hawke's Bay, the Riverside Jet Track, Crownthorpe. And have a look at the points. Baden Gray, well, he's been on a tear. He's unstoppable at the moment at the top of the tree. Reg Smith, the veteran, is second, and Bevan Muir, Baden Gray's teammate, is third. And what about the performance of Sam Newdick sitting in 4th place? So this is the first elimination here at Hastings, and Brian Donald and Vinnie Worrell good enough for 15th place with their time of 59.38. In 14th place, it was Andrew Guthrie, and they had problems all day at Hastings. He's run as high as top 3 in New Zealand. Wasn't to be here in the Hawke's Bay. Blair Gibbard and Joanna Bayliss, another one to have problems. Navigational errors in the qualifying rounds. They're 56.644, good enough only for 13th. Phil Whelans and Darren Judd in the hire company were 12th overall after the first elimination, 54.902. Mark Shirtliff and Greek Fuge made a welcome return to the series, but it wasn't a happy one for them. 11th with a 53.710. And in 10th place, another double-driven boat. This is Mark Newdick and Ollie Silverton. 52.36, as good as they could go in the boat. Watch out for his son, Sam. So at the top of the tree, a bit of a surprise because it isn't one of the 10 Tools racing boats. It's the veteran in the hire company. That is Reg and Julie Smith with that 49 flat. Further down through the field, well, some work to do for the rest of them. Mark Newdick and the rest further down go home. Shane Wood on the bubble because we will have a top 9 and not a top 8 here at Hastings. So it is Baden Gray that showed the way in Scott Waterjet's International Group A, but he's not on top here in Hastings.
Hey, I'm not taking anything for granted. I've got to go the right way. The boat's got to hold together. We've both got to keep it in the water. So, hey, we're doing well, but we've got a lot of work to do.
So this is the points leader. This is Baden Gray, along with Tanya Imunger. Away they go. This is the top 8 here in Hastings. Once again, Jamie McCarthy sits in beside, and we got something special on the cards here, Jamie. The Group A stuff has been oh so close in all the previous 3 rounds.
Very, very competitive, and you can't say that it's a surprise that Reg Smith is topping the times at the moment, but based on season form, it is right now as we look at this great out-the-back shot with Baden Gray in 10 Tools Racing.
Well, he's got to keep in his mind that he's got to keep the boat in one piece because his teammate will drive it as well at the other end of the top 8. This is the top 8. Split time there is a 31.97 for Baden Gray.
So that's the benchmark. This boat has solidly been in the 49-second bracket throughout the afternoon. Here's the time coming up.
Well, he's crashed through the 49-second bracket, 48.84, and that, as you said, Jamie, the benchmark in Scott Waterjet's International Group A. What can Shane Wood do about that? Let's have a look at his previous times.
He's had a string of navigational errors to a 52.2 in the top 16, so Shane Wood and Outlaw Racing have got some work to do because that lap from Baden Gray was the fastest lap of the weekend so far.
I tell you what, they'd have a season they'd want to forget about because they've had mechanical issues, they've broken crankshafts, they've had little niggling problems that have kept them where they should be. He's an aggressive driver is Shane Wood, and I'm sure he won't be happy with what we've seen so far.
You just see how different this course is to the previous round at Mary, where the islands are a lot lower because this is a lagoon and they've actually plonked a whole lot of dirt right in the middle of it.
That's right, it's the newest jet sprinting circuit of the current crop.
35.59, so what, he's about 4.5 seconds.
Man, he's down, isn't he? And it looks quite smooth and quite fast, so you just wonder where Baden Gray's finding the speed or where Shane Wood is losing it in huge chunks, heading down to the finish line now. What's it going to be? Well, it's a 54.41. Man, he lost even more time in the second part of the run. Simon Campbell is next to go. Now, he's not running for the championship, and that's one of the reasons why we've got a top 9 instead of the usual top 8. You're on board here with Simon Campbell in Opiki Spud. Gareth Cox is the navigator.
See how flat the water is and how much lower those islands are from Mary. So you can get away with making cuts here at the lagoon, but a couple of seasons ago, Phil, they were flying each other all over the course and into the barriers.
Well, they were. You can get away with making the odd cut, but you can't treat it too lightly because, as you mentioned, the debut of this circuit, man, they were flying out of the place in all directions.
Here's the split coming up for Simon Campbell. 31.97 for Baden Gray, 33.2 for Simon Campbell. His fastest lap up until now has been a 50.7, so he's only been about a second behind the front runners going into this run.
Well, he's been there and done that, Jamie. He's a past Group A champion, so he knows what it takes. But I think because he's only doing some of the championship, it might be a little bit ring rusty.
50.89.
I've still got a little bit up my sleeve, providing I can put a tidy run together. I lost a little bit of time, just pulled the boat in a bit tight in a couple of turns, but yeah, I think if we could find a little bit more boat speed, it would certainly be a huge advantage.
It looks like it's quite nose in.
Yep, well, it's been in my mind to trim it up a bit. I've just, now that I've got a good handle on how it's going, I think we might just lift the bow out of the water a little bit, see if that helps us generate a bit more speed.
Well, Blake Bryant, another one that's had problems with navigational errors in qualifying rounds 1, 2 and 3. Now he's got a handle on it, though.
Well, Phil, they've only had 2 clean runs, so they don't have a lot of data on this boat going into the top 8, so that might hurt them a little bit, but a 50.3 in the top 16 was a pretty impressive effort. He was only a couple of tenths off the likes of Ray Ferguson, and maybe, about sort of 6 or 7 tenths back down on the front runners.
That's right, but what they have got, Jamie, is the advice of one Peter Bryant and one Rex Bryant, so that's got to count to something.
Both former world champs in International Group A and Superboat, of course. 32.9 for Blake Bryant for the split.
That's a little bit quicker than Simon Campbell did, so he's heading in the right direction here.
About 3 tenths.
And speaking of the directions, just look at the condition of the water here. It's pristine. Wouldn't mind swimming in this. You wouldn't be swimming at Mary or Featherston. This looks good.
50.71 for Blake Bryant.
Richard Murray has the added advantage of owning his own personal jet sprinting track. The Shelter View track is on his farm in Wanganui. He, along with co-driver Kesty Manning, have a renewed commitment to the sport and to winning Scott Waterjet Group A with a new white pointer boat, Mean Machine. Involved behind the scenes as well, Richard is the current New Zealand Jetsprint Promoters Club chairman.
Just getting our revs back now. We've, it's taken us 4 meetings to get there, and blowing motor and whatnot, chuck this whole forward in and away she goes. So.
Well, another Ford runner here in the jet sprinting. This is Jet Pro New Zealand Jet Sprinting Championships, Scott Waterjet Group A. This is Richard Murray and Kesty Manning, long-time navigator, the 2 lads from Wanganui.
Well, they've been having some problems. They've gone from a Chev to a Ford, and as we heard Richard say, they've found some RPM and they've found some time. They're only just a second behind the front runner's pace, so this is by far and away their best performance of the championship so far.
Well, they've been firmly in the 50s since qualifying round number 4. Let's see if they can break into the 49s. If they can do that, I think they'll go further. This is the top 8. We'll take them from 4, and then there'll be just 2. What's the split going to say?
32.61, so he's about 7 tenths down on Baden Gray, but that's the second best split of the runners so far. 50.17 has been his best time.
Oh, this one might be a little bit better. We'll have a look at it as he works his way down to the finish line now, boating right down the centre of the course. 51.2 for Richard Murray from Wanganui.
Think you can get into that 49s?
I'm hoping, mate. I'm hoping. Yeah, I think I can. We had a bit of a rough run the last one. I just about went down the wrong channel, so I had to correct at the last second. So yeah, hopefully, we probably lost a bit of time there, and there's a few bits and pieces I could clean up. So yeah, I'm pretty confident we can.
Well, Ray Ferguson yet to knock on the door of a 49-second run. So close though, 50.1 in the top 16. This is the top 8. You're riding on board with Ray and Nicky. L-Firm Racing is the boat. Number 51 tells me he's a bit of a Greg Murphy fan.
Great shots on board, and you can see the directional changes. 25 or 26 different navigation calls here with the rotation. here in Hastings.
Well, we're at the part of the afternoon where we start eliminating a few now. So Shane Woods, 54.41, starts to be put under a fair bit of scrutiny here.
Well, he's only a second off the front runner's pace. The split, a 31.99. So just 2 100ths down on Baden Gray. So this is a quick lap.
Well, he's always had it in him. His Ray Ferguson, he came from the lights up into Group A, where he's found a home, and this is a good time. 49.4. That eliminates Shane Wood.
Very quick.
Sam Newdick next up. And his times have been pretty sensational as well all season long. He has been in the 49s. That was in the 16. You see there the previous times. They don't mean anything now because we wipe the slate clean and start again. Now, though, he is looking at the time of 50.17. That is Blake Bryant's time. So the times start to tumble in the eliminations as well here, Jamie.
Well, he's been one of only 4 boats consistently doing 49s through the top 16 into the 8. And we've just seen a 49.4 from Ferguson. So he's going to need to go quicker than that with the quicker guys to come.
Well, I think he is going quicker than that. Nick McIndoe, very animated in the navigator seat. That's his hand, you can see, waving around, telling his pilot exactly where to go. Good split time.
Well, he's got 6 tenths to try and make up on Ferguson, so not as good as it looks.
Well, Blake Bryant is going to be watching this, and he's going to be a little bit worried because they rocket down to the finish line now. It's going to be another sub-50 clocking. 49.62. Goodbye, Blake Bryant.
Well, that was a big improvement. 2 tenths. It was actually his best lap, so he cleaned up the second half of that lap. Now on board with Bevan Muir.
Well, you've got to think that it's going to be meat and drink here for Bevan Muir. He has been firmly in the 49s since the qualifying round. Qualifying 3 did 49.6. In the top 16 he did 49.4, and that was faster than his teammates just done in the 8. So if things go well, expect another low 49 here from Bevan Muir and Kathy Barker.
Well, up into this stage, Bevan Muir and Baden Gray were only 6 1,000ths of a second apart in lap times. Hey, same boat, so it's not surprising. Split 32.40. Well, he's got some work to do.
He has 31.97 for Baden Gray, so there's pride on the line here. We know he can bring it home quickly.
Time to beat Richard Murray now on the bubble with a 50.12. You would think Muir should do it pretty comfortably.
Oh,
48.92.
He will. 48.92, the second fastest lap of the afternoon in Scott Waterjet's Group A. Oh, and the boat's cut out. Now, is there a problem here for Teng Tools Racing?
The oil pressure light come on as I went over the line, and I turned it off.
Think it's all right?
Yeah, well, it's back up again now, so I don't know what the story is. We'll go and have a sort out.
Red Smith is one of the more experienced pilots in New Zealand jet sprinting, starting with his colourful brother Brian. He has done it all, from superboats to his current double drive with Phil Whelans in the hire company Group A boat. He and wife navigator Julie's season continues to go from strength to strength. Tied in the World Championships for second place in Australia at the beginning of the New Zealand season, that's where he sits now.
Tried about 4 different combinations of blades today. It's good in some respects having 2 drivers. You get to try all the combinations. Found a combination that suited Phil a little bit better than me. So we've been changing backwards and forwards, but we've ended up with good old faithfuls that we ran last race at the last season at the last race. So yeah, it's feeling good. The boat's feeling really good. It's liking this clean water, sitting high. Feels nice.
And that's the thing about this course, Phil. Clean water. Look at the colour of the water from the previous round at Mary Mary. The clay gets picked up later in the day and it takes the edges off those blades.
Well, that's right, and it's about this time that you're putting your best equipment in the boat, so I think these guys will be running their best blades. This is Reg and Julie Smith. The boat is the hire company. You're watching Julie's hand as she guides her husband around this amazing course here in Hastings. Round 4, Jet Pro New Zealand Jet Sprinting Championships.
And this team has been the pace setter today so far in Scott Waterjet. A 49.001 was the fastest run of the afternoon in the top 16 until we've started seeing some 48s here in the top 8. Quick split, 32.01, just a tenth down on the likes of Baden Gray and Ray Ferguson.
Sam Newdick now the worried man because he is the one that Reg can eliminate. Newdick's time of a 49.62. I bet he thought that was going to hold up. I don't think it's going to. It's not. 48.68 for Reg Smith, so it's goodbye to Sam Newdick. So we have found our 4 here at Hastings. Reg Smith tops the charts again with that 48.68. Baden Gray, the points leader, is second and his teammate is third. Was Ray and Nicky Ferguson going to make it into the 4? You bet your life. We've got 2 eliminations to go here at Hastings. This is the top 4, and this is Bevan Muir and Kathy Barker in Teng Tools Racing. And they've been chasing their teammate, but they pipped him in the 8. Can they do it again here in the 4? You're on board with Teng Tools Racing. Wicked A is the boat name.
It is very competitive here at Hastings. Just 0.3 of a second cover the top 3 boats into the top 4 here. The benchmark at the moment is Red Smith at a 48.6. You would think these guys are going to have to improve on that to get through to the final.
Well, I got a feeling they're going to, because the conditions aren't going to change much. That's one of the benefits of being in a lagoon. You can kind of control the flow of the water, so it's not going to get up or down. The levels aren't going to change. We said it before, it's beautifully clean. Look at the split. It's another 31.90 for Bevan Muir and Kathy. This is a swift run.
That's 700ths quicker than Baden Gray's previous best from the top 8. So this is a quick run for Bevan Muir. The current NZ1 in Teng Tools Racing, 48.25.
Well, that's the fastest lap we've seen. We're going to get sick of hearing that, but I think we're going to keep hearing it for the top 2 as well.
48.25, that's really laying it down.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I missed that. Yeah, no, it felt like a good run.
What about the boat? Still got issues?
Oh, it is, yeah. I sort of managed to glance over a couple of times and she went down to 0, so fingers crossed, yeah.
King of the understatement.
Yeah, exactly right. Ray Ferguson has got it all to do now. He's somehow got to pull out a 48-second clocking. He hasn't done that yet.
Needs to find probably a good second at the moment, a 49.4. Progressively, they've got quicker throughout the afternoon in the Altherm White Pointer.
And just looking at it on this course, you can't have a weak moment. You've got to bring it home, but you've got to start fast as well. And Ray's been starting a little bit slow, but bringing it home fast, and maybe that's going to cost him.
Well, it was a good split last time. It was a 31.99 split, 32.09, so he's only lost a tenth, but he's going to need to find some time in the second part of this lap if he's going to force his way into the final with Baden Gray and Reg Smith to come.
Are we going to see a 48-second clocking for Ray Ferguson? Oh, I don't think we are. The finish line's just going to be too far away. It is. It's a 49.44. Good enough so far. But there are fast boys coming, and this man came out of the start chute like he was shot from a bullet of a gun.
This thing at the moment, Phil, is the hot rod from hell. 48.6 was the benchmark until Bevan Muir just laid down the gauntlet with a 48.2, a stunning lap. Can Reg Smith fight his way through into the final with Baden Gray still to come?
Oh, listen to this thing. They sound like they've found another 1,000 RPM. It is screaming, the hire company boat.
Certainly sounds crisp. Here's the split coming up. 31.9 for Muir. What's this going to be? 31.8. He's a tenth quicker.
Are we going to see another fastest lap here in the top 4 for Scott Waterjet International Group A? Red Smith can do it. He's got the pedigree. He's been around forever. He's driven everything.
Well, he's leaving it all on the water. Here comes the finish line. He's out past the 48. He's slowed up in the second half, a 48.9.
Wow.
Well,
what can this guy do?
0.7 of a second slower than Bevan Muir. He obviously lost some time in the second half of the lap.
What can Baden Gray do? He was the first one into the 48s. He did a 48.84 in the top 8. Are we going to see a 48.2 or better? That's what his teammate did. So, for bragging rights around the kitchen table, when they get together, when they're not racing, that's what they'll be talking about. Can Bevan Muir hold out the top spot, or can his teammate take him down?
Well, he did a 48.8 in the top 8 to get him into the 4. Reg Smith's just done a 48.9, so he has gone quicker, but only by a tenth. So there is some pressure here on Baden Gray right now in Teng Tools Racing.
We'll get a look at it as they work up their way to the split time. If it's going to be in the 31s, he's in with a chance. It's not. It's a 32.02.
Well, he's down by a couple of tenths on Reg Smith, so the pressure is on here. Can he fight his way into the final? The points leader for the championship.
Well, the time he's got to beat is that 48.90 of Red Smith, but in the back of his mind, he'd love to beat the time of his teammate. He hasn't beaten his teammate, but he's beaten Reg, so we'll have a Teng Tools Racing final. Bevan Muir on top, but it's his teammate Baden Gray that holds the points lead in Scott Waterjet International Group A. What's going to happen in the final? Stick around and find out. So it is the fastest of the 2 teammates going first, and that is Bevan Muir. Forget about all the times you've seen before, the 48s and the 49s. We start with a clean slate. Bevan Muir, he's got to post a time. He's got to get to the finish. But then he's got to make sure it's fast enough to beat his teammate.
I think he's done the hard work in the top 4, Phil. I think Baden Gray he's got to be looking at that time going, wow, that is quick. I've got to find some time. A 48.2 was a jaw dropper, 7/10 quicker than his own previous best. So Bevan Muir's laid down the gauntlet. Well, let's see what he does here in the final with the first split coming up.
Got to be in the 31s. It is in the 31s. 61. That's the fastest split once again.
He is right on the pace from the top 4 run, which was a stunning 48.2. Finish line sequence coming up.
Well, if he's not in the 48s, he's going to be in trouble because his teammate can do it. He is in the 48s, 48.26, another 48.2. Mr. Consistency, Bevan Muir throws down the gauntlet to this man. This is Baden Gray. It's a double dribble. You've got to feel a little bit sorry for the boat because it's working overtime here and it's working at the very top of its game.
Well, it's not so much the boat needing to find the speed. Baden Gray needs to find half a second from his previous best, a 48.7 in the top 4. So the pressure is on.
We'll get an indication. We'll get an indication at the split time. 31.61 for Muir. What can Gray do?
Well, it was the fastest split to this point of the weekend. Very competitive. Scott Waterjet Group A class here for round number 4 of the championship. Here comes the split.
Oh, he's going to be down. I think he is down. He's in the 32s. He's way down.
6/10.
Well, that is night and day in this close competition. Teammate on teammate.
Time to beat a 48.2 for Baden Gray. Can he do it?
Heading down to the finish line now, and the finish line's going to be too far away to get the 48. It's a 49.02. So Bevan Muir turns the tables on his teammate. Teague Tools Racing goes on to the top step of the podium once again, but this time it is the New Zealand number 1, and that is Bevan Muir.
Today you've had the measure of him all day. You think you're going to rattle his confidence?
Oh, hey, it's a psychological thing, hey. He was on a roll, and I started thinking, how am I going to beat him? But, might be something to the navigator, eh? Knocking me on the head.
Well, it might have been his teammate that beat him, but it's Baden Gray that stays on top in Scott Waterjet Group A. Red Smith holds on to second place by the skin of his teeth from Bevan Muir, and Sam Newdick continues his good run with 4th. Ray Ferguson is 5th, and Blake Bryant is in 6th.